Welcome to Las Vegas, Nevada. I will be here today, tomorrow, and for Friday's show. Huge thanks to Ben Dixon for filling in yesterday. It went, I thought, really well, Lewis. I mean, we'll talk about it at the very end. There was a ton of email and voicemail feedback about Ben. But, I mean, I think for the first time we've ever done something like that, I'd call it a huge success.
Yes, Ben told me that he was a bit nervous about the whole thing. It went really well. He did a great job, and I've seen nothing but positive feedback from people who are actually doing a serious critique of Ben's performance.
Okay, so let's get into the big New York primary results yesterday. We had the Republican New York State primary, the Democratic New York State primary. I want to start with the Republicans, where Donald Trump did very, very well. Let's take a look first at those results. You will notice that Donald Trump garnered over 60% of the vote in the New York Republican primary. This got him 89 delegates. In second place, not Ted Cruz, who is in second place nationally, but rather John Kasich in second place in New York with 25% of the vote, getting him 3 delegates, and Ted Cruz 14.5% of the vote, 0 delegates. So let's first talk about this, Lewis. The big question was about Donald Trump in New York. It's his home state. Will he get over that 50% mark, which has sort of eluded him in most of the primaries, maybe all. Now my memory is failing me. And he did indeed get more than 50% of the vote. And that was, I mean, nobody can deny that this was an incredible win for Trump in New York.
Huge, and it's got to take some of the wind out of Cruz's sails after being awarded all the delegates in Colorado. So this was important for Cruz, and it's a little bit scary. It's very interesting.
We've seen the Ted Cruz campaign really show that they are an actual political campaign in the context of comparing them to the Trump campaign, and that they have been doing the ground game. They have been going through the county conventions and the state conventions even after some of the primaries and caucuses to start accumulating more delegates. But it sort of has all been outdone by the fact that Donald Trump gained 89 delegates in the lead with Cruz yesterday. Trump with 89 delegates, Kasich with 3, and Cruz with 0. And the numbers do not lie. But along those lines, let's look at the numbers when it comes to the delegate math, Lewis. What did yesterday's New York Republican primary due to the delegate math? You will see that as of this morning, according to the New York Times, Donald Trump leads Ted Cruz by 301 delegates. So let's look at delegates needed, and what share of the remaining delegates each candidate needs to clinch this nomination. And this will be very, very, this is very revealing, because if you look at the 674 remaining Republican delegates as of this morning, Donald Trump needs 393 more to clinch the Republican nomination, which of course is 1,237. So if Donald Trump can secure 58% of the remaining delegates, he clinches the Republican nomination. Ted Cruz, after yesterday's New York primary, has been mathematically eliminated in the sense that he would need 103% of remaining Republican delegates, meaning he would need to win all of the remaining delegates plus a few more, taking them away from someone else to secure the nomination. And John Kasich has been mathematically eliminated for a long time, actually. He needs 162% of remaining Republican delegates to reach the required 1,237. Now, what can we say as a result of these numbers, Lewis? Well, we can say that the only realistic scenario where anybody secures the nomination before the Republican convention is Donald Trump. However, it is by no means a guarantee that Donald Trump will secure this nomination. In fact, I would say it is more likely than not that Donald Trump will not get the Republican nomination prior to the convention. Yesterday in New York, Trump had between 60 and 61% of the vote. This is the most he has had in any state, and this is his home state. It is not unreasonable, Lewis, to think that Trump will not do as well in the remaining states as he did in his home state. And if Trump comes in with anything under 58% of all remaining delegates, he doesn't clinch.
That is true. But of course, Kasich and Cruz are going to stay in this one. Like you said, they have no choice. They have to hope for a contested convention. You're right. You're probably right. Is Donald Trump going to do as well as he did in New York and in the remaining states? I doubt it. But he could. He could still become the nominee.
What would very much help Donald Trump would be if John Kasich or Ted Cruz dropped out. Now, it's been made pretty clear by the Cruz campaign, particularly when you look at the aggressiveness that they're employing in courting individual delegates, that they plan to stay in this thing. And I think that that is probably the right decision if you're a Ted Cruz supporter. The case on the Kasich side is a little bit less clear. On the one hand, he has long been mathematically eliminated from securing the Republican nomination prior to the convention. He's been eliminated from that mathematically for a while. However, every single poll that we look at, or just about every single poll we look at on the Republican side, shows us that in hypothetical matchups against the eventual Democratic nominee, be it Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, Kasich is the guy who does the best. So while Kasich, Lewis, may not have a mathematical justification for staying in terms of delegate math, he absolutely has a mathematical, so to speak, justification for staying in terms of his chances in the national election.
Yeah, he has said he plans to stay in. He's the one who brought up the fact that in 70% of contested conventions, historically, the delegate leader did not win the nomination. He's fully invested in getting to the contested convention.